Already, it's 6:03. I guess that Sue Buckley's back now. I think we should give it up for Sue. She's back. She's got some cash in her wallet, and she's not stoned anymore, and she's great.
They're immortalized.
Okay, so who's going to speak this Sunday?
Sue would. Baby, this is how it works. I sign your name to all the workshops, whether or not you say you're coming to them or not, and we volunteer you for whatever you want.
So it's all join the club.
So next week, y'all better get prepared, because give it up for Melissa, who jumped out first on the old Sunday.
She did a great job.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. You could say a lot 1 minute.
Yeah.
Why am I not talking?
I have never tried doing that, but but I hear it's great. No, but no, I'm going to tell you the truth. My mom's memorial, I had a Catholic service, one, and then ours at the New Thought Center. They said 5 minutes, and if not, the priest will stop you. It was so. I mean, I worked on it for like weeks to get the right 5 minutes. Compared, in my opinion, the one I did for 5 minutes and the one I did for 3 hours over at the other, the 5 minutes was so. I mean, people were saying, "Wow," you know, because I really had to say it all in 5 minutes. So, you know, I learned from it. Then I got over the other one. It's like, anyway, everybody's going. Your mother was, no, yeah. Okay, so shall we start with a few announcements? What's tomorrow night? Labyrinth. Who's going to stay afterwards and help us roll it out?
Those of you that could never seen the cards before, Sue would.
No.
These beautiful, amazing cards, and they all have these beautiful backs.
Look at
on them.
these.
I know.
Exactly. That's so great.
Have to pick them up. No, we should have to pick them up, I think.
These are great. What did you say? Grace. Yeah, thank you, Sue. There you go.
It took her forever.
So, and then what is happening on Friday night?
The Cure.
Cinema, The Cure. What's happening on Saturday? Not a damn thing, isn't it? Happening on Saturday. And Sunday we have a new month, and it is all about what? Planting. Planting your vision. Mm-hmm. It's come that time. It's come that time. Oh, and then one thing, I didn't bring it up here, but we have in March just a little, we have several things coming up, but Marion Head is doing Tai Chi, better known as Tai Chi, but it's a different thing that she's working on. She's going to be doing 4 Saturdays and starting, I think it's, when does this start, Sue?
21st, right? 21st.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Here. So that's it. And then the Revolutionary Agreements with Reverend Walt is starting in March as well. So there's a whole bunch of fun things. But let's just stay with this week, shall we?
This ends on March 18th. Oh, wait, tell me. Okay. Yeah, let's just before we start. I was going to, we were going to start the next class almost immediately so that we could get it done before we left for Peru. And we were going to put it down to 7 weeks, basically. And one of the days was going to be on a Saturday, and it was going to start on, well, 1 week off, and then it started.
And it's still the same thing.
What I'm trying to do, but so that we don't have to go into the summer. Yeah. So was that, for those of you that are taking this is the last undergraduate class for starting practitioners, this next one. It's going to be Spirits in Rebellion or Roots. It's our version of Roots, but we're going to do it a little different like we always do. No. It's about the roots of the science of New Thought. Yeah.
Charles.
Well, when do you leave?
Ernest Holmes.
Wait, hold on.
Kunta Kinte.
Wait. And when do you get back?
When? April
Well,
21st?
you just have to take it online.
When's it start?
I don't know what else to say. Otherwise, we
April
have to go.
1st,
Otherwise, we
April
have to
1st, April 1st. Okay.
April 1st. Is there
let's stay
anybody
with
else
tonight.
that's not, like Peggy, are you available?
Yes, I'll be in March, but I'll be back on.
And DJ, are you going to take it? Because you have everything and Chia has everything.
Okay, we don't
Okay.
need to do this
All right,
tonight.
I just
We
want to know,
really
will it
don't.
make a difference? Okay. What?
We're not going to change the date, so
It's going to be
it'll
on
always be
Wednesdays.
on Wednesdays, yeah. May
May.
18th. All right.
Okay. It's going to be 7.
It's all online though, you guys. We can work it out. 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, I think. 3 Sundays though.
That's not till May. All right. Yeah, it's going to be weird to be away from here for that long and not be able to be on the grid at all. Yeah, okay.
Just remember one thing.
We're
We
not
have
there
our
yet.
plants. We have our
Yes.
plants. So just
Yes.
be know.
We have Krishna. We'll send him in now. Okay. All right, everyone. Let's just take this beautiful energy and bring it in. Center here and now. Close your eyes if you feel comfortable. Take a deep breath. Getting in touch with my breath, I recognize that one breath of life that is breathing me, that I am forever and ever part of, connected to. There's no separation. I know there's only one life, one life, one power, one light, one energy, one source, everywhere present, in and through me, in and through all of creation, in and through each and every person here. That beautiful, amazing light of divine intelligence that moves through us in every single solitary moment, making everything available that is ever required. I know that is what we bring here tonight, divine intelligence expressing through each of us in its own unique way. Sharing this material, sharing our thoughts, gaining more understanding, expanding. It's all happening here right now. And I know that every moment is filled with that energy, that light, that love, that beautiful, amazing divine intelligence that intuits through us in the most perfect way. So I expect a great night right now, knowing that it unfolds moment by moment by moment, exactly as it's needed to unfold, and that each and every person here receives and gives exactly what is their unique gift to give and receive. So I am grateful, and I bless Patrick and I as we intuit these chapters and the lesson itself, and more and more and more, knowing that it's all good. And so taking this, I'm just so grateful to know it, to claim it, to recognize it, to affirm it, to declare it. I'm just grateful for the manifestation that happens now. So I just release my word. I let it go. I let it be, as we say together. And so it is.
All right.
All right. Is everybody ready? Yep. I don't know who's not here besides Melinda and Larry. Anybody else missing? Desiree. Well, Desiree usually is late. No offense to her, but okay. So tonight's really all about spiritual mind treatment and going through the chapters that we read, that what I thought were really good chapters. So did Patrick. We got a lot out of them. And so first thing off the bat is if anything's come up question-wise, and then we'll share our affirmations that you were supposed to write for yourself. So any questions that have come up or confusion, or we're going to go through the chapter, but anything else like life stuff that you have a question about relating to the work. Oh, everybody's just staring at me like, okay, I guess we'll go through that then. All right, how about affirmations? Did you come up with an affirmation for yourself that you feel is valuable? And would you like to share it?
Did you feel it's valuable? That's right. If not, please don't share.
One thing, when you go into one thing that happens in practitioner studies that doesn't happen here is you're expected to, it's like 100% participation, or you don't you don't graduate. It's like everything's 100% participation. But anyway, I'm not trying to scare you or anything, but I know you look like terrified group. Anyway, go ahead, Melissa.
So my affirmation is, I consciously embody the peace, joy, and wholeness of God's nature within me.
Have you been using it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really focused in on looking inside for what I need rather than outside. And it's like I just have this image of it's God's, the qualities and the nature of God is covered somehow in me. It's like there's a film or something. It's like I'm trying to figure out how to rip the film off.
How to what?
Rip
Right,
off
the film.
so that it
Just
like
let it
shines
out.
through.
You do it when you sing all the time.
Okay. Well, I know, but I guess I'm getting more involved with my mind. I don't know, but I don't feel like it's constantly, I want to actually feel it all the time. Instead of suppressing it with my mind or
I got
something.
it. I got it.
Like I'm finally gotten to the point where it's like, okay, I really know that it's there. It took about 2 years to really acknowledge that this is in me. It's really comforting, actually.
It is, right?
Absolutely.
But I want to feel like I have more of a communication with it,
Comes from practice. Thank you, Melissa.
So mine was, I am safely held by God. I am protected, safe, and guided. All is well. I am peaceful.
How did that make you feel?
Good. I need it a lot. But I also want to share that when I was on the mainland taking my daughter up to go away to the Navy, I was having to pray a lot, and I know she was kind of quietly crying in the car. She was afraid, but it was all good. But I had I was thinking about the word and the the treatments, and that I got my word is the law. I got that. I've been taking, I haven't been in this that long, but it's I didn't really get it, and just for the first time it opened up, and I thought, I just have to say this one time, and that's it, and let it go. It's what you've been saying all along, but I got it.
Right. We say things for a long period of time, and then the day comes when the click happens individual. Actually, that's what it said, your individual moment that comes for you, that oh my God, I've arrived at what I've been wanting to experience. And so that's great. And it is comforting. It should be comforting, right?
Yeah, it was just kind of wow, that's what they're talking about.
Right. It's powerful, right? It's like that thing, you're an irresistible, a cosmic force. There is that moment that goes beyond a poem and a quote, and it goes into the cellular.
Yeah.
And you go, holy crap, I've been saying this for the longest time, and now I feel it in every single part of my being. Not just my body, my being. Right?
Because I am it. I just have to say it, and then it is.
Right.
Yes.
I can't say I've kept it with me since then.
Well,
but
you
I
will.
felt it.
The more you do it. Yeah, see, we're trying to teach something that can only be felt. So we can tell you what it is and what to do and guide you down the path, but eventually you have to do it. No, we can't do it for you. It's kind of like there's certain things that can't be taught. Right? Sue?
Yes. I deserve to be happy. I am worthy of meaningful employment that exceeds my needs and desires. I have a part 2, but then I thought if it's something I'm supposed to say to myself often, that the second part I might not remember the whole thing, but the part B is God is the source and substance of my supply. I relish in all my new adventures and endeavors. And it's already come to pass.
Yay. Good. Those are beautiful. I especially like the second one. I like the second one. But you've got to like the one the best. Oh, did she correct it for you? No, I hear her say that. Oh, okay.
Mine is going back to basics, really. The Spirit is within me and all around me. I am an expression of the divine. it's kind of interesting how this week has brought about how we're all connected. I mean, a lot of the reading was, and I find that it's kind of frightening how powerful we really are.
It is, right? When you really think about it.
That's the point.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying, is that it's all of a sudden, do you see why we put it off a little bit? Kind of like, I'm not really sure I got this yet. I don't know. I don't know is usually procrastinating till you can really discover how much power is in this being, as this being, and connected to all of you, and we're all this one power, and it feels so good, but it's a big, in our earthly human side, it feels like a big responsibility. And as long as I don't have it 100%, then I can kind of slide a little bit, because it's a big responsibility, but what a reward. What a reward. Yes, yes. What happened? Oh, that was you.
Yeah.
You've been working with the kids today, haven't you?
In fact, no.
Your inner child.
That's right. Coming out in abundance.
Are you trying to pass that over to me because my coffee cup?
You ready? You ready? All right. The universe unfolds perfectly. I have and attract the skill set, mindset to attract and am worthy of the abundance of prosperity, love, wisdom, and impact I desire in mass amounts.
It's nice. That's quite a menu.
All of these, are they short enough that you can remember them, or do you have to take it out and read it?
Well, you have to take
Yeah, okay. So something to consider, so that, if you didn't have that, well, you're always going to have your cell phone, I guess. But, I mean, I kind of like them when they're short, and I can just say them, but that's powerful. What? Yeah. 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 But
Oh,
like I
okay,
said,
man,
we're
yeah.
attached to our cell phones, so if I had it on a piece of paper, it wouldn't be so good.
Mine was, I am supernatural. I can do anything. That was it. I needed that this week. It has been a very abundant week, and it has very much helped. And I've been able to pass through it without fear. For a first time in a long time, I've recognized that today. As I was sitting here, I was like, there's been a lot that went on in this last week, and I have not felt fear during it, which has been just
Wow.
amazing.
Victory. Who else?
Mine is simple. I am the face of God, and I am love.
That's
That is,
beautiful.
I am the face
And
of
you
God.
are, and so it is.
One thing that Jamie, you reminded me of that I've been talking, I keep forgetting to say it. It's about these demonstrations, because I remember you and I talking about demonstrations, and how important it is to share our demonstrations with one another. Not because we get a list of things like, oh, look what I got, look what I got. It's kind of like that, but we really need to know. We're the only philosophy, this way of life, that hides and does not discuss their demonstrations. And I think that the time has come that we must, because if you don't mind, I won't tell you, but Jamie and I were in the middle of a conversation, and we were talking about demonstration, and all of a sudden she went, oh my God, I had like 4 demonstrations. And sometimes we don't even recognize them because we're so used to trying to, what do I have to, what's my next thing? Or in this philosophy, we're trying to treat, we're treating for our next, praying and prepping for our next thing we have to get through or get over. But what if it wasn't about that? What if it was about just we're walking demonstrations? That's what I believe we're going to be at, and that we are at, that we're going to walk from that place, the power that you guys were talking about, that you all of a sudden you say, oh my God, I have the authority. Oh my God, within I have the authority. And it calms your life down. You don't have to be as much in fear, but I think it's important that we share with one another when we have these demonstrations. I mean, your whole trip with your daughter was a demonstration. Everything's a demonstration, but so I think sometimes we think of it as something else, demonstration. So just think of that when you're sharing with people. that oh my God, I've demonstrated. Yes.
You triggered something I wanted to share, and I had spoke briefly without specifics of the last couple weeks, and I obviously wasn't here last week. The things that we've talked about here in service, there's this knowing, and it's the only way I can explain it to you. I tried to intellectualize what I know, that source. I know that knowledge. I can feel that knowledge. I've seen that knowledge when I connect with another spirit, and I see all of them, and all that knowledge just flows between the two. It's knowing. And I keep trying to understand it and intellectualize it and see. And that's my control. That's my fears and my doubts that were getting in the way. The experience that I had over the last couple of weeks has been quite, life has put all the right people in place to say all the right things. And I came to a place of, in the message I've been hearing, and it's all been fear and doubt that has stopped it and has stopped the natural flow and the outpouring of this love that somebody explained that this is a transfer station. Stop playing with it. Stop thinking about it. You already know it. You have to be it. I sit there and play with it. That stops it. The flow this way. It's a transfer station to and from. Well, that's when I came to that place where I realized I already know this. Patrick told me 100% you must believe. And when I did that, and I let my fear and doubt go, I spoke my truth and watched what came back, and I almost fell over. It was exactly what I've always known. So the message to be it is simple. And I started thinking about unconditional love. And what does that mean? And to be that patient as I've been graced by life with unconditional love. That's the expression. And you have to be it. And when I'm not, it didn't take long after that to get knocked right off my perch, and everything that was in my way come flooding in. And it took a day and a half and the right people in place to tell me, you forgot who you were, this person before. You know these things. You lived that. Speak your words. Stop talking. 5 minutes. It's even less than that. Say what you mean what you say. Do you believe it? Are you it? Be it. Express it. Have no fear. Doesn't matter what people think and what people say. When you live that, there is no fear, there is no doubt. It matters not what they say. You see it for what it is. You know who you are. And when you're it, like you said, I'm safe and protected. Oh, yes, you are. And I got to see that. And every time I do that, there it goes. Whew. Every time I do that, I see the future. I see what's unfolding. I see the purpose. I found my passion. I see the purpose. I see how life prepared me to this moment. And I knew my purpose when I was 7 years old, and I forgot all about it. Got caught up in all the nonsense in this world and let people change. No. Go back. I remember all that I am. I always have been. I always will be. And just be it and have no fear.
Thank you.
That's all I can tell you.
Thank you. No, that was a lot. That was good.
Okay.
All right, Chia.
I am aware that I am one with source consciousness. Just simple like that.
Love it.
Because what happens is I lose my awareness. And just to say that brings me back in.
That's beautiful.
So sometimes I feel isolated and alone. And so what helps me is to say I am the beloved of God.
Beautiful. Did everybody get a chance?
Everyone.
DJ, you didn't get a chance.
And then Ron.
Well, mine didn't work.
No. I have all the time I need to do my homework.
You didn't listen to yourself.
Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, that's funny.
Okay. Oh, I don't want to go out there. Oh, all right. He wants to get me. Oh, I'm still working. Yeah. I feel prosperous in all areas of my life, especially in my health, my relationships, and with wealth.
Bravo. How does it feel?
Oh, I'm starting to get the feeling. I'm starting to get the feeling, but what's come up is, why can't I show the results yet in certain areas? For example, in prosperity, I've been looking at people who vacation and spend their money in ways that I think I couldn't do. Not that I wouldn't like to, but I couldn't. So I have to change that belief system that's back there that says they can do that, but I can't.
Exactly.
I am worthy.
But being able to
I
see
am
it
worthy.
and be saturated in it is helpful. So you just say, here I am. I'm ready for that. Yeah. I know. We had a chance to go to that spa and at the
We
Hyatt.
got a Christmas
'cause it was a
gift from
Christmas gift.
Michelle
And I was
Leron.
like, this is the way I want to live. This is like awesome. I want to live like this. This is the way I want to live all the time. And it felt so good. But immersing yourself like in situations where you can feel it, however that looks to you, is good. And yeah, so that was very helpful to me to actually be immersed in it.
Yeah, one of the things that came across for Suzanne and I, my wife and I, was that we got that ticket at one of the sales, that DJ was going to give us an amazing dinner, and that we had a discussion about, well, that's a lot of money just for a dinner. And then it was like, we deserve it. And so that's what came out of that. It was an awesome dinner.
Deserving is a big thing. It's the answer to
So
everything.
I believe it's the all that is all, because everything that it always comes back. It's like a math equation, which I don't use as a metaphor very often. Trust me, but it is the equation. It always comes back to the worthiness and the deserving and the. I mean, why do you think it took? We got that gift at Christmas, and this is end of February. And it took a long time to do it. So what I was more interested in is, why was I postponing that gift of spying out for the day? And it wasn't until I realized, I felt that I deserved it, but there was a whole bunch of other stuff that comes in when you go into another, I know my world, but I don't know the Hyatt's world. The Hyatt's there. People walking around in robes and stuff. And I'm going to tell you, I love money, and I love the good life. So that wasn't the thing. But I remembered I had my my CAC shirt, KC shirt on, and everybody's like walking around going, I order lunch now. And they weren't actually doing that, but that was what my mind was saying that they were doing. And so what happened was, I have to tell you what's so beautiful about this. My little boy came out and I go, is there a reason why you act like you're only visiting for a moment? You came to see somebody, but you have to go? Because I'm like everyone else is like all chilled out and they're in their robes and stuff. And I didn't pick up a robe, so I'm still in like some, like you're going to go play a round of something, And I go, are you visiting or are you going to stay for a while, Patrick? And I went, oh man. So I walked in there, I got my robe on, and then I walked out and I went, oh, now we're cooking. Because everybody else was invited and I was just going to visit because I didn't know and I thought, you still have that inside of you, Patrick? You've got to be kidding. But it only took about 10 minutes to get over it after I deserve it.
Yeah, I've been, thank you guys for last week, because I've been binging on Dr. Joe Dispenza, and he says in a podcast that the universe gives you what you believe you deserve. You know, and I mean, it's the whole worthiness thing, and it's totally true. When I was also going to say that worthiness and deserving is like the switch for the law.
Oh, that's good, because once you switch that on, and then what happens if you only, because as Ray was saying, Patrick was saying it's 100%. So we're at the degree of this vibration that we are in any given time. I was at a different vibration then than I am now. So what happens when you're only at 40%? Let's give it numbers. It has no percent, by the way, and it has no veils, by the way. You're just always this incredible vibration, but we put stuff on to so what happens if you can only, believe 40%? Let's just, for fun with numbers. So 40%, it's like, I can't believe it 100%. What happens?
You get 40%.
No, you do. No, you do get 40%. You get 40.
It's like the story that Ernest Holmes tells in the textbook about the 4 people that went for treatment for jobs.
Right, perfect.
One was making 15 an hour, one was making 20, one was making 25, one was making 30. I don't know if those are exact figures. So he treats for them to get jobs. They all got jobs. One at 15, one at 20, one at 25, and one at 30. So, because they couldn't lift their consciousness higher than what they were already making.
Exactly.
I know, yeah, so.
And the 100% is when we say 100, when we live by 100%, just means that no matter what is happening,
Unlimited.
we're always unlimited, and we always are at 100%. But what are you willing to take? Because we think there's a price tag on this, and there's a thing on that, and there's a thing on that, and I deserve that, but I don't deserve this, and so that's why even when we travel and do whatever we do, we always call it first class. Let's go first class. You can go everywhere first class.
It's an attitude.
It's an attitude of first class. So when you walk in, you just know it, and then everything gravitates towards you. It can't help itself. But if you're going in, I'm trying to make a deal with the law, and I've got to make this deal, and then you're all tensed up. It's about deserving. There's nothing. We were interviewed about worthiness by one of our colleagues now, and she said, "Well, what do you think?" I said, "Worthiness comes the day that you stop proving yourself. It comes the day you stop trying to prove yourself, because you don't need to prove yourself anymore. And I have to tell myself that every day. Patrick, the only time that you ever think you need to prove yourself is when you do not think you are worthy. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Because what happens with worthiness is somebody comes up and they say, I don't like that. I don't like that. That song, sucked. You go, really? How interesting. Because I had... Can I please tell them? So I go, that song sucked, I don't like it. And she goes, That's our Melissa. That's our graduated student right there. So if you ever come up to her and you try to tell her, because she is so confident that all she's going to do is go like that to you. Yeah.
Gotta be kidding.
So anyway, our point is that's what we want to do. And
People just can
and so
say
this
anything,
is what you
can't
do.
they?
You go like this. Well, thank you for your opinion.
All right, let's keep moving.
Yes.
All right, so you had some salient
Salient
points,
points.
and I don't even have my book with me right now.
It doesn't matter.
We don't need them.
I have them. Okay, who's going first on your salients? Salient.
Ooh,
That's so funny, Melissa.
What's
I'm
it from?
all about faith. It's from
Okay,
Can We
fine.
Talk to God?
Faith,
Page 82.
energy, faith.
Second, it's a good job. The second paragraph. In fact, that's the main word, faith. I'm a big fan of faith. Faith is also,
Faith.
Yeah, 100%.
Cannot be argued with. Go ahead.
That's also one of the switches for the law. The mind can accept it or it can reject, but it cannot do both with the same proposition. The mind cannot accept what it rejects. It cannot embody what it denies. It will not accept what it refuses to believe. Prayer, faith, and belief are mental attitudes. It is written that faith shall heal the sick and God shall rise him up. This implies a human act followed by an act of God. It also implies that without such a human act, The act of God will not follow. The act of God follows our faith in God.
Say about that. Here, stand up and take the.
I love it.
It's your salient point.
I love a couple points about this. Prayer, faith, and belief are mental attitudes. So we can all acquire those prayer is something that we do. Faith is something that we we get through faith, and then that belief. I think belief and faith run hand in hand, quite honestly.
Close.
But the point that I love is the fact about doing, because people pray. You know, I used to go to the Baptist church, and people would pray without doing shit. So it's like you pray and you pray and you pray, but without action, then God can put those opportunities in your face. Like, you can't do anything. I mean, Jesus. You know, he'd pray, but then he'd make some type of action. Even when he didn't necessarily pray, but when he told the guy to get up, he's like, get up. You know, there's a action in there somewhere. The faith of God comes through you, and you have to be able to walk in that faith. But there's the walk. So
Right.
it's just the fact of the matter is, things aren't going to fall into your lap. You have to pray and then get to work.
Well, if you say you have faith and you can't put it into action, you don't have faith.
Exactly.
So it's like faith without works.
So
is
the
dead.
bumper-
That's
so-
what that means. Faith without works.
So
is
the
dead.
bumper sticker will be, you're praying without doing shit. That's how it works. Praying without doing
All right,
shit.
Melissa.
That is good. It's so good. It's so true, though, right?
Well, there's actually a number of places they're saying the same thing, but in just different words. So there's just one sentence. It's one,
Yeah.
so, treatment must convert confusion into peace. We are to demonstrate that spiritual thought force has power over apparent material resistance, which is pretty much the same thing. We must meet the condition as it actually is, in fact, and cause our thoughts. We must meet the condition as it is and cause our thoughts to transcend it in every respect. And this, I love this. The one practice. We meet the condition, and basically but then this next one actually explains it right here. The one practicing must be able to look at a fact in the face and say that it is not there. That's it.
Exactly. So when it says it's not
transcend
there, so I'm in the hospital and I'm lying there and you're looking at me, and so read that again.
Okay.
One practicing must be able to look a fact in the face and say that it is not there.
So when you're looking at me, how are you going to tell me that how does that work with me? You're looking at me,
Well,
I'm in the hospital.
Okay, you're in the hospital, but I just see you as light and wholeness
Right.
and love and abundance.
No
and
matter what I
no matter
say.
what, yeah. That's who you are.
Because the spiritual energy field is perfect. It's never been touched by anything, right?
It's got riled. Is that like a hallelujah? or you want-
both.
That's
Yes. 100%. I remember I was visiting Karen Lieberman. I was like, you can get up whenever you want to. You know what I mean? Hey, I remember, come on, get up, get your ass up. Come on, let's go to the store or something. You know what I mean? Like, let's go. People were coming in and they were looking at the conditions. Oh, do you want some water? I'm like, hey, what's up? This is a nice room. You can get up whenever you want to. No, let's go. Let's go home. I just didn't see her as sickly. I saw her something so much more spirit.
And
Sometimes healing doesn't mean getting better either.
Right.
Not getting physically
Right.
better. But it does. But you saw her wholeness. You just saw her wholeness, and
Right.
no matter what. For me, like sometimes when people are supposedly sick, they look better to me than they've ever looked in their life. I don't know what that is. I'll look at them and they'll be glowing, and
that
I'll,
doesn't mean-
And I'll tell them that, and they'll look at me like, really? But
that
it's
doesn't
true.
mean that you don't have compassion. It
No,
just
that's
means
'cause you're
it just
seeing
means
them as they truly
it
are.
means that you. I was doing it today. I was in treatment for someone, and I had to get away from what I thought they believed about it. Hello, just really hear this. You go into somebody. That room is filled with it when I work with people, and they're in there and they're telling me that this is what's really going on. And I understand that there's a better way, but you don't understand this is the biggie. This is the big deal, Patrick. And I just don't believe it. I don't believe it. But then this is what they do. They go, well, forget you. And then they get, no. But here's the deal, and really hear this because it's an important one. Sometimes we get caught up in the story, but not in the story, but what we think they believe. And because we know, because you know you're sitting with somebody and they're going, God's all there is, and you know that in their mind they're only doing that to make me happy. You know, because I'm just going to say this because if not, he's going to say it. So, and then you have to listen to that. So what I had to do was to pray to get myself out of knowing that he was resisting. Does that make sense?
That's not your job.
So he's resisting. So I am in there thinking, okay, but he's resisting. And then you start trying to prove it and you try to get in there and fix it.
Well,
and then
think about what he's saying. He has a belief that he's resisting. So he's promoting that belief on that
Exactly.
person, even if it might not be true or whether it's true or not true. That's not your job, right? As a practitioner, to see that he's resisting, because then you're promoting that he's resisting.
Right. So where is my...
But it's easy to get into that.
So
though.
where's my treatment? So what was I treatment? Because I realized that it was not doing any good. So I had to step aside, not only from the condition, but his belief in his condition. That's what I really had to step away from and go into what Patrick knows as God, as this power, and my belief. And all of a sudden, yes, I started like seeing him and feeling his vibrancy and seeing him walking and moving. And I started to feel that. And I went, this is who I know. This is what I know. And and all of a sudden it became and then I said, and so it is. And I went, now I have served my friend. Now I have done now I've served him. I have contributed to his wellness no matter how it looks. I was contributing to his non-belief by me trying to take care of getting him to believe first and then let's do the work. Doesn't happen that way. So I was shocked that I had a flaw.
This is very helpful when you're working with people that don't know your work. Like, they don't necessarily know you're working for them, and they want it, but they don't. You can't really say anything to them. Like, it's called silent treatment. I mean, let's say you're like somewhere and somebody's having this really negative experience, and you cannot say anything because you don't want to start preaching to them, whatever. You can silently treat your mind about whatever's going on while you're talking to them.
Treatment.
You know what I mean? So it really does work too. And because sometimes, otherwise you're going to be the one that's going, I really think that you should blah, 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 and you're trying to preach to them or whatever, and that's not what you're supposed to do. And then in the meantime, they're whining and complaining, and you know that it's, anyway.
Charles, DJ, and then Sid. Charles, that brings a whole new meaning, man, to the world. I'm going to give you the silent treatment.
That's enough. You're saying, I'm silently treating.
Oh, thank you.
Go ahead, DJ.
God wants us to have more than we have. The Spirit desires a complete expression of itself. Hence, the more we enjoy, the more it is expressed.
Agree?
I love that last part of it, especially.
Yeah. So, this has kind of been a rough week for me, but there have been some really, Sunday was very inspirational, and I was able to hold that spirit of love, and I was doing pretty darn good. And then I don't know, I just got shaken today by something that happened, but then there were some good things too. But I think it's good for me to reread this about enjoying, and that was one of the things I knew I needed to shift. When I felt so bad about something that happened, as I was like, okay, I need to enjoy something. So,
Well, don't forget, just being aware that you were shaken is a win. There was a time you would walk through and you wouldn't even know that you were being shaken. You would just be shaken. You would just be reacting. To the fact that you know that it's happening is it's a win. It's a first step. It's what Chia said. I am aware. Awareness is the first step. So, yeah. Getting down on ourselves for those things is not helpful.
After you. So I wrote down a page number, and then I sort of wrote down the quote, and then it's not on any page number in any book.
Don't worry about it.
But I know it's in there, because it talks about mathematic and mechanical. So what I wrote was, and I believe it's a quote, anyone who uses the law of mind will get a result which mathematically equals and mechanically corresponds to their use of this principle. And so I don't usually use math either, but when you asked if you believe 40%, what you'll get is 40%. So I understand that. It's, I guess, the same as mental equivalent. It's like to the degree that we believe something is to the degree that we receive it. And then I started thinking about the mechanical part, and the law of gravity is a law of physics, and it's mechanical force. And so the way I interpret mechanical is in that same vein, that it happens on its own. No one is controlling it. It's like the motor that turns, once the motor is started, and this motor of God was started or never started, it just is. And so it just happens automatically and mechanically. And so I like those two words, and then I kept finding them in other books, in other parts. And the other thing about the mathematical equivalent is that it's 100% correspondent. And now when I look at the word correspondent, I see co-respond, like to respond together, because what I put out, I get back. And I really have been thinking about those words. And if there's an opportunity later, I want to tell my little story. It's under 5 minutes of my letting go. But I won't do it now because other people
I
want
want to
to
make
share.
sure that you can. Once, save it, don't, because we want to hear it. We want to hear it.
It's graphic.
Oh, Charles is all excited now.
He won't be after he hears the graphic. Right.
Go ahead, Chia.
Okay. I'm just going to read the point. We must learn to live from a unity which is forever established. So that just takes, again, it goes back to my affirmation. It's just everything is all one. It's everything. And for us to get that big, to be everything. So we have to learn to live that in everything that happens.
Right. To know that we can receive it and take it.
Yes, so I had an experience that I didn't quite know how to include something that was bothering me. So I separated out this one person because he was sitting in a waiting room, an unknown person to me, but he had such a horrendous body odor that I moved 2 or 3 times, and it seemed like he kept moving closer to me. He'd get up and move, and I really, it was painful to my nose, to my whole sense of being, that, and I really didn't know what to do, but I just, I went out and stood out in the hall and that's separating myself from another human. Can you speak to that?
Well, I don't think it's that. I think if there's judgment, it is. But I think taking care of yourself is not separating yourself from another human. But if it's a difference between saying this doesn't work for me and I need to move, or saying that guy and
Right.
judging him, right? Then
Right.
that's a different thing. But taking care of yourself is not saying that you're not in unity. I mean, that's my opinion.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay,
But then adding the judgment to it would be, would be.
I didn't add judgment.
No, I don't think you would.
I just chose to take care of myself.
Yeah, there's nothing. Yeah, go ahead.
And that's the key of what we're all doing here. It's about trying to find our self-love. Self-love has boundaries, but not walls. But we have boundaries. There's boundaries of how I would look at that is, oh my God, I can't stand this. I'm almost getting sick being in the presence of this odor. And so if I can step away from it, literally, and say that I will not sit, because a lot of times we do sit there thinking, if I was really spiritual and I was really unified, I could really get there. Well, sometimes, if they're hitting you in the face, the most important thing to do is to leave. And if somebody's doing that, it took me a long time. We've learned it as spiritual leaders, because we thought spiritual leaders, you could dump, a whole can of crap on us and we'd be okay with that. Why? Because we're spiritual leaders. We're supposed to be able to take it. I'm getting a little more than it is, but not really, because that's the whole thing. You think, oh, I want unity, and what kind of a person isn't doing this and doing that? But then you can love. What I realized is that you can love and still be separate. I mean, separate physically, or I can still love that man, and my treatment for him is whatever's going on with him. He needs to have his odor over there, and I need to be free over here. And and there's nothing wrong with that. Unless you're gonna go in and say, is there anything I can do for you? Do you need this or do you need that? But we have to be really careful that we're still beautiful people. Just because we want to take care of ourselves doesn't mean that we're not unified with everyone.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know it is, because we think our compassion is supposed to have this thing where I can look and go, I should be able to go past the odor because I'm spiritual and I'm unified. No, but we're in a human experience, meaning we're in the flesh. And so most important, like Rita said, can we do that without judging people? Without saying, I don't understand why they have to smell like that, and I don't, you know what I mean?
There is a difference.
There is a big difference.
Thank you, Gia. That's
Thank
good.
you. That's a really good.
Yeah, I got a great deal out of it's on page 82. It talks about prayer leads to a place of mental acceptance, but prayer without faith is ineffectual. And then what really hit me was faith elevates the prayer to conviction and acceptance. And that's what I'm experimenting with in my life. And I kind of compartmentalize things. So, I'm working on this and this and this. And so it's easy for me because I have this just amazing faith right now that I don't bounce checks. I have enough money to take care of everything when I need it. And it's amazing. Checks come in the mail. I get a call and I'll get $100. Somebody will call me and there's a $200 trip up to the end of the road. I don't worry, just in this one area now, I don't worry about getting money to take care of current affairs. And so I have faith in this just amazing area. And it works. And I give thanks as I go out driving and need some more money today. Okay, I'll go driving today. And I might get in the car. Thank you. And then I just ask for what I want. I want to get lots of rides. I want lots of money. I want to have lots of fun. And now I'm trying to focus on the feeling of it. I want to be with fun people. I want to, serve. And it's working. And so I can take that now that I've managed to create that in this one little area and work on these other areas like health, relationship, getting totally out of debt, things like that.
Well, that's just a matter of belief.
Yep. So now I
right?
can do it.
If you
I
can
know I
believe
can
it
do
in one area, then why not can you believe it in another area?
That's right.
That's where you have to go kind of digging under and seeing, why am I not accepting it in relationships if I'm accepting it here? Because it's all one thing, really.
It's all those old
right?
programs.
Right? And so,
Belief
yeah.
system back there.
Right.
Yeah.
And do you understand the idea of accepting it? Like, it's like the universe can only give us what we take. We have to just take it. We have to accept it. And that's sometimes the thing that holds us back. Like, I'm not worthy to receive, I'm not worthy to accept, all of that stuff. But acceptance used to be the fourth step of treatment. It used to be called acceptance.
Or this is just enough. And that's what I heard, Ron, that you were saying. The word current is, I have enough today, enough. But what we say is, I have more than enough. I have more than enough. When this one closes, then this door closes, and another one immediately opens, and money comes to me easily and effortlessly. Everything is paid. But a lot of times we work on it in little increments.
And just what you said was going to be the point that I really loved, was that the universe, that says on page 84 of the Can We Talk to God, is the universe withholds no good thing from us, but what belongs to us we must take. And as we talked about, like having that deservedness, and practicing that and knowing that we deserve all the good, all of that is for us, and not one. I think part of what I would do oftentimes is the foreboding joy. Like, I don't want to hope for something that maybe, and that makes it completely ineffective. Right. And as we talked about last week, the conviction and just having it and knowing you already have it, it's already there. You just have to recognize that you have it and keep practicing that recognition. So, yeah. So that's.
Or you get a windfall. Rita and I used to talk about it. We were talking about in our, we were in a gratitude the other day as we were looking at the times that, we would go, girl, that was harsh. Those times, those financial times were harsh, girl. I mean, I didn't even remember. If you talked about it too long, you go into a depression, But we were just talking about it. But we would get a windfall, like, I'll give an example. Rita, we were really at a very low finance. She went to work, and her boss, it was Christmas or whatever, and he gave like a $10,000 bonus. I mean, not like $10,000 bonus. And I remember driving. I was in Beverly Hills, and we were taking my mom to Palm Springs for her 80-something birthday, and I
Figure out how we're going to pay
said,
for
how
it.
are we going to do this? And so she said, I got a bonus today, and I was like, I'll meet you at the bank. No, I'll meet you at the bank, honey. But those days of doing it, but then what would happen is there would be that part of us that thought that maybe that was it.
Yeah. And then we go back to the other.
Then we would go back to another way of living. Meaning, instead of saying, oh, there's more, the DJ's salient point, it's my great, to express even more good in your life. There's no limit to me, to this energy. There's no limit. You limit it by saying, oh, I guess that was a pretty big one. I better share this with everybody. It doesn't work that way. Wow, yeah, thank you.
In science of mind terms, we are universal on the subjective side of life. So it's like this big pie, and we get to take however much of that pie that we feel like we can take. But the whole pie is there, and the more that we expand into the universal, into the allness, the more that's available for us. It's there, but if we can't accept it and we can't envision it for ourselves or feel that we are worthy or deserve it, then it's still there.
Right.
It's just not in our life.
The
Does that make
universal
sense?
flow doesn't wait for the
We're-
last piece of pizza. The one that lays in the thing and nobody wants to take the last piece. It's saying take it, because the moment that you take the pie, the whole pie, if you really want the whole pie, I usually don't want the whole pie at one time, but if you want a whole pie, then just remember that when you take that pie, the universe is coming in with another one to lay it down for you. It's unlimited. It
And
never
some of us were
stops.
brought up, I know, I was always brought
I
up,
was
the
very
guests got
brought
the
up.
most, and we waited for the guests to do their thing. I remember this lady that was in boot camp with me, spiritual boot camp, she said her family always would say, family hold back, when they had company. So, but think what that puts in your mind. They get to have it, but I'm holding back just to make sure they all have enough so that but a lot of us I don't know anybody in this room, but we're brought up that way, that you took care of everybody first, and then you took what was left.
If there was anything left.
So that's very kindly and loving, but it's also kind of, right? It's like there should be enough for everybody, right? So, or you shouldn't.
The whole back part.
Yeah, family
The
hold
whole back part. I'm thinking, just make more. Why
I don't know. That wasn't my mother. It was somebody else's. But there was always enough food in our house, but plenty. Unfortunately, too much food. Okay.
Also, Can You Talk to God on 86, they're referring to, it says we, but its practitioners are to demonstrate that spiritual thought force has power over apparent material resistance, and we cannot do this without faith and confidence in our approach to the principle which we wish to demonstrate. When I read that, I just thought about that biblical, you needed the faith of a mustard seed to move a mountain, and that's the first thing that occurred to me. It's not like you don't have to be there, you don't have to be arrived, because that's something I struggle with. It's like, I'm not really feeling like, I'm not feeling it, but if I have the faith that it's all in place, it will just unfold as it should.
Right. Because the treatment or the mustard seed has everything within it to demonstrate the plant. It's all there. You don't have to do anything. You just have to water it with your conviction and your faith, and it's going to go into full bloom. But you're not doing anything to it to make it happen. That makes sense. You're letting it happen. It's like, let it happen. No, you're not smashing the seed open and everything. But everything's like, it's like the acorn in the forest, that whole idea that the whole forest is one acorn. It's that same thing. Think about it. If you just think on that, like contemplate that for a moment in your meditation and just sit there with that, talk about opening your mind, right? Yeah.
Salient.
Did you go? Okay.
Because when you make me do it, it might go to the next class. On page 90, the real person is already free, complete, perfect, and in heaven right now. We are already provided with everything necessary for our happiness, to our happiness. How foolish this sounds in light of our experience, and yet this is the right mental attitude to take in giving treatments. This is what confuses so many people. But we are speaking of the real person and not the person of experience. There could be no person of experience unless there was first a real person. And I just love that. That's, GTC, Global Truth Center, is one of their mottos is to remember who you are. I'm a real person. That's who I really am. And to remember that is really
And how do you incorporate that into your life? Just give an example of what you're saying right now is so valuable, just that salient point. Now, if you were going to go out and just come from that, what would that look like for you? I mean,
For me, this would look like a lot of self-love, a lot of taking care and honoring who I am, and knowing that everything that I do and say and think has value. I don't know if that made sense or not. But this paragraph above that is talking about there is no evil, there is no devil, there is no, there's just our use of the law, and that good overcomes our perception of evil. So when I remember who I am, I have a situation now that there's a lady living in my home that I don't really even know. And she's technically homeless, though she's a nice lady, but I'm not comfortable with someone I don't know in my home, but I agreed to do it. And so I've had this whole week, I've had to say, okay, and my treatment for myself is to let me be kind, let me be loving, but let me keep the parameters of the conditions that I set for her, which is basically you can sleep here and take a shower here so that you're not sleeping in your car and you're safe. But I'm not responsible. I'm not her hostess. I'm not accountable. I can't rescue you. I can't save you. And it's been to remember who I am, and it's okay for me to stay in my power and stay with my own agreements. It's been a really amazing opportunity for growth for me.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
Ray.
Okay.
Well, I have to be honest. I sat and started to watch last week's lesson, and I got through about 30 minutes when I got knocked off my perch. And it took me this long to get back on my perch. But I can tell you this, what it did trigger was all of the things that were standing in my way. So I spent the time to get back into truth. And what I heard was, and I saw it for not only me, but for the work that is coming, be quick to listen, slow to speak. When I do that with myself, then I hear, and then I see, and then I am. If I'm running my jaws, or I'm intellectualizing, or I'm stressing over, it blocks everything up. The headaches came back, I told you. When I'm quick to listen, that means with me first. I can hear my voice. It comes through every time. It tells me exactly what I need. Then the visions start coming. That's where the lies and the truth come together, to see the condition, to see the lie, send it back to the nothingness, and embody the truth. It becomes very clear very quickly. And it literally took me that long to get to this place, because I couldn't even sit back down and listen to anymore, because I was so knocked off, so upset, so off center, that I was scrambling in my own head. I was frantic inside. I had all this commotion going on and thinking, what the hell? I just saw you and told you I was pure. What the hell is this? How did that happen? I'm in this place. But no, I was in that moment of consciousness for that moment. That didn't mean that I was perfect, that I'd gotten it all, and I'm running around in just this intimate feeling of and enjoying and basking in that moment. And life said, that's enough. You don't get bigger than your britches. You're not. Look, this is in your way, and it has to go, because what you are creating, what your purpose is, what the work you have to do, you have to see these things to be able to embody that truth that you know. And I found that I was 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Once again, the AB plan. You're all in or you're not. And then I got to see about the unknown, and I realized that word scares me. And when I actually looked at the truth, going back to what you know is the truth. And when you know all of that and you feel all of that, how can you be afraid of, quote, the unknown? Because it's not. The only thing you don't know is the experiences to come. But what you do know is that they're already perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's great. Let's go on with the salient points, though.
And just one note that you
you've
can
had-
never be too big for your britches, because it is.
Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Oh, did you have one? Salient point? Okay, go ahead.
Because I think cogent, it really describes the state of the world, kind of. So the inertia of belief and the morbidity of experience have created such deep-seated thought patterns of negation that many sincere persons believe that through negative experiences they are gradually being led to the light. I mean, that is huge.
I love
That's
that.
pretty much what that's really what the world is like.
Right, right. And we can make the excuse that we need negative experiences in order to be enlightened. Right? And, yeah, but we talked about that a lot here. But we also don't want to think that because we're having a negative experience that it's a bad thing. You know what I mean? But it is the way we think we learn, is by, and the whole consciousness of the world is in that place of, right, right.
So I'm going to read this now because it goes right in
Okay,
there.
go ahead.
Spiritual awareness is important in the use of the law of life, for the law is a servant of the spirit. The law, remember. Our spiritual awareness is the secret place of the Most High within us. Our conviction and our faith are the Mount of Transfiguration, where we receive a deep conviction that there is a spirit in man and that this spirit is God. Now, this is the part that we're talking about. Oh, I'm sorry, practicing. No, it's not can we talk. It's
How to use.
Well, because
Page 47.
yeah, 47. But yeah.
Yeah, no, how to use.
No,
is
no,
sense.
no. How to use. You guys now have to read it over again because we've lost the.
All right, go slow.
But okay.
Look over your shoulder.
Spiritual awareness is important in the use of the law of life, For the law is a servant of the Spirit. Servant, I'm going to repeat, of the Spirit. Our spiritual awareness is the secret place of the Most High within us. Our conviction and faith are the Mount of Transfiguration, where we receive a deep conviction that there is a spirit in man and that this spirit is God. But this next paragraph is what hit me.
Can I just stop there, though?